Hey Facebook, happy Sunday everybody. It's just a gorgeous day out here and I am in the one of the apartments in the first place that I ever bought 12 years ago. And I thought that this was going to be a good time maybe for some stories. I feel like probably a lot of you have heard this story, but maybe, I don't know, probably a lot of you haven't. So this is basically literally the first place I ever bought, and this is the story of how I got started and in all of the things. So hopefully everybody is caffeinating. Today we're repping Elite Plumbing out of Anamosa, and this is some coffee, some very nice Nicaraguan coffee from Dash Coffee Roasters in Cedar Rapids. Are you ready for this? How do we turn this around? So, this is literally the first apartment that I ever did, or first place I ever did. This is one of 3 apartments. So we just have a tenant who moved out, and so yeah, we're doing a little bit of an updo, still waiting for the appliances to come in from Best Buy. You would have fridge there, stove there. Swapped out the old countertop for some butcher block because everybody loves butcher block. And yeah, black fixtures. Check out this guy, just for fun. This is the second story of kind of like what was a story and a half house, and so it's got a lot of like awesome closet space. We've got this as kind of a bonus room. This can either be like a bedroom or a flex space. Kind of nice. So funny story, because that closet, funny story about that closet. So, all right, here's the story of how I first bought this place. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. No, so I moved back to Cedar Rapids after kind of being around for a little while, and I wanted to travel. And so my whole plan was to just save my money so that I could travel. But I was like, no, I can't just like save it and then travel, because then I'll come back and I won't have any money left. So my plan was I was going to work really hard, invest my money as wisely as possible, and then I was going to travel off of the proceeds. And so this was back in 2008. So the stock market was in the toilet, and I was like 24 years old, so I didn't know shit about shit. And the idea of me opening a business likely would have been a bad idea. So I was like, okay, I'll get some like real estate or some rental properties. So realtor, Lisa Vacirca, found me this place. And you know what I mean? It seemed like a reasonably good deal. It was a threeplex. There's 3 apartments. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to buy this place, and I'm just going to manage the tenants. And so I bought the place. There was 3 different tenants living there. And so I like put on, you know what I mean, a nice collared shirt. I met with them and I said, hey, you know what I mean, new sheriff in town. This place is pretty shabby. I'm going to fix it up and make it nicer. It's going to be awesome. You guys are going to love it. And in my mind at that point, what I was thinking is, because I'd been watching some TV and stuff, and like The Apprentice was on TV, and I was like, realize, don't judge, realize, this was back in 2008. This was back before Donald Trump was quite as dangerous, or didn't seem as dangerous as he is today, right? But yeah, so 2008, I thought that I was just going to be like Donald Trump. I was going to get like an office downtown with a nice oak desk, and I would just like have pieces of paper come across my desk, and then I would either stamp them approved or denied, and somehow my infinite wisdom at the tender young age of 24 was going to be worth money. I don't know. So I thought I would just make decisions. I didn't know what else real estate investors did at that point, right? And so I met with the tenants, and I essentially communicated this vision to them that, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, the place is shabby, but I'm going to fix it up, make it better for everybody. And I remember, like, all of the tenants kind of just, like, smiled and nodded, but, like, none of them said anything. And so, sure enough, a month later, none of them had paid rent, and they all just left. So then I had this, like, vacant property, and they all had, like, smoked in there, and it was gross all over the walls. And, like, when somebody is living in a gross place, it somehow looks a little bit less gross because they have, like, stuff on the walls, and there's some semblance of order. And, like, you know what I mean? All those stains in the carpets, you can't really notice them through all of the, you know what I mean, through all of their furniture. And so, yeah, when they left and they pulled, like, their pictures off the walls, then you could see, like, the smoke rings from, like, how discolored it was from smoking. all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, this is bad. So I decided I was going to fix the place up so I could get better tenants. But at the time, mind you, I was working 2 full-time jobs. I was doing full-time, I was removing asbestos, lead, and mold for ATC, and then I was waiting tables at Buffalo Wild Wings. So I was literally clocking at least 40 hours at each of those jobs, and then I was trying to remodel this place in the meantime, like in my downtime. And so I remember, like, I would come in here and, like, literally, like, I could count how many linear feet of trim I could paint in a day, because if I only had like 30 minutes, you know what I mean? I would come, I would unwrap the paintbrush, I would paint for like 15 minutes, then I'd wrap it back up, and then I would go on to the next job. And there'd be some times where, especially on the weekends and stuff, if I was like, working both jobs, I would come over here, and literally in this closet, there was like an old mattress, and I would take a nap in that closet just to try to like catch up. Before the next job. But yeah, so it took me 13 months to remodel this place at the time, which, I don't know, I assumed that was like reasonable. But so yeah, it took 13 months to remodel this first, all 3 apartments, got people living in them, and yeah, I remember at the time, like, I was buying like the wall paint from like Walmart because it was cheaper, and like, I remember at that time I used to like take apart all the ceiling fans and clean them myself to save money. I used to like go on Craigslist and get like free stuff from people to try to like put it together. So yes. So now, you know what I mean? Funny story, 12 years later, you know what I mean? And the old linoleum that used to be here, we replaced it with this stuff. The old countertop, the old faucet, we replaced those, replaced the original light fixture. So now it's finally getting a little bit of an updo 12 years later. But yeah, this is my first place. So that's my story for today. Going down the nostalgia hole. So hopefully you guys are doing good. And yeah, if you tuning in late, I'll post this on Facebook. This is the story of how I got started 12 years ago. But yeah, the funny story about that too, right? Okay, like here's the epilogue or prologue. But yeah, so that's how I got started. And then yeah, so my goal was to do this for 3 years, and then after 3 years I was going to travel. And yes, like sure enough, almost 3 years to the day later, I touched down in Havana, and that was my first trip. So yeah, you can do it too. All right, have a great rest of the weekend, everybody, and I'll catch y'all later.